In this question, we are going to calculate 243 divided by 8 without using a calculator. So to solve this, we are going to use long division. But before we start, let's label what each number in our question means. Our first number of 243 is going to be known as our dividend, and our second number of 8 is known as our divisor. So now that we know that 243 is our dividend and 8 is our divisor, let's set up our question. We first want to draw our den, and inside our den goes our dividend, which is 243. And outside the den goes our divisor, which we know to be 8. So now that we've set up our question, let's start our long division process. We first take our divisor of 8 and see how many times it goes into our first digit of our dividend, 2. Well, as we know, 8 cannot go into 2, so therefore above the 2, we are just going to place a 0 to remind us that 8 cannot go into 2. So because 8 can't go into 2, we have to move on to the next two digits of our dividend, which is 24. So we ask ourselves, how many times does 8 go into 24? Well, 8 can go into 24 evenly 3 times. So therefore, we place our 3 on top of our 4 in our dividend. So as we can see, our digits lined up of our 3 and our 4 both in the tens position. So now we take the 3 from above and multiply it by our divisor outside. 3 times 8 gives us 24, so we write that below our 24. And then we subtract these two numbers, and 24 minus 24 gives us 0. So our next step is to take whatever number we have left, which is this 3, and bring it all the way down, next to the 0. And then we do the same process. We check how many times does our divisor of 8 go into 3, and we know that 8 can't go into 3, so we put a 0 above the 3. So our 0 and our 3 are lined up in the ones position. Again, we want to take our 0, multiply it by our divisor, and 8 times 0 gives us 0, so we write that below here and subtract the two numbers. 3 minus 0 leaves us with 3, and as we can see, we have no more digits up top after the dividend, so therefore we know that 3 is going to be our remainder. So now that we have our quotient of 30 and our remainder of 3, we can write out our answer. There are a few different ways that we can write out our answer. We first always want to write our quotient that we solved, which was 30, and then we can write R for remainder, and then a 3, because we found that our remainder is 3. Or we can write our answer again with the quotient, and then a fraction. The fraction is the remainder of 3 over our divisor, which was 8. So 243 divided by 8 is 30 remainder 3, or 30 and 3/8.